Welcome, everyone, to our Community Virtual Library podcast. Today, we're going to be talking with the Nonprofit Commons in Second Life. And the Nonprofit Commons is an amazing community that networks lots and lots of different kinds of communities that do work in virtual worlds. We have a new board that is just starting, and today we're going to meet the new board as well as talk a little bit about the board members who are leaving and a little bit about what the Nonprofit Commons is doing in virtual worlds so that you might be able to find your place within this dynamic community. So I'm going to start with our main leader who is very influential and has been a leader in the Nonprofit Commons for quite a long time. First, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Rhiannon. And Rhiannon, if you'd like to say just a little bit about why you're active in the Nonprofit Commons, I'll turn the mic to you.
Okay. Now I'm going to sound a little weird because I'm very congested, so sorry about that. But hello, everybody. So as Val was saying, the Nonprofit Commons, has been kind of a hub for sort of social good and nonprofits initially, and as many of you know, was founded by TechSoup by Susan Tenby of TechSoup at the time, and when they were looking at like how do you use virtual environments like this to kind of convene community of practice around social good, and and that continued on till roughly about 2017, I guess, and then things started to shift away on TechSoup's side of things. So I was community manager at the time, and also happened to co-lead Avacon Incorporated, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. So with some conversation with the community and others, at that point, Avacon kind of swapped to being the fiscal sponsor of Nonprofit Commons, and that led to this kind of community involvement and conversation about how to be truly peer kind of led and governed and have an entity of its own. So on the board, I am kind of this, I obviously still host the weekly meetings for the most part. And then on the board, I am on, kind of in the executive board level, one of the co-chairs, because Avacon is a fiscal sponsor. Somebody from Avacon kind of has to be on the board anyway. And since I've been part of things, that is me. So I have a lot of that kind of executive financial stuff behind the scenes to keep things going in that regard, and then also help out on some of the committees like the education one and some of the others. And I'm sure we'll hear more about committees afterwards. But ultimately, my interest has always been to continue to keep this community of, and now even a broader community, because we've broadened it to be not just nonprofits, but also sort of that social good to even more an extreme, where folks like CBL and libraries and educators and even some of the activist sort of informal groups and arts groups, like those are now much more part of the part of Nonprofit Commons, able to get offices, presenting that kind of thing. So, we've tried to definitely broaden that. So, and I'm here really basically to support all of you in that. So, and you could obviously find out more about Avacon at avacon.org. And, I thank you guys for being here week after week to meet and for all the wonderful work you do. So with that, I'll give it back to Val.
Thank you, Rhiannon, for all your leadership at the Nonprofit Commons and for keeping it such an active and dynamic community. And next, another leader who's been involved for a long time in the Nonprofit Commons is Zinnia. And I'm going to let Zinnia tell a little bit about herself and why she's active with the Nonprofit Commons. Zinnia?
Thank you very much, Val. Yes, I am the co-chair with Ree here at the Nonprofit Commons, and the Nonprofit Commons was one of the first communities I joined when I came into Second Life. I am an educator and an artist and a nonprofit person out there in the physical world. And it just seemed like a natural fit that I would come in and use my skills and also encourage others to gain skills within this environment. One of the things that I started off doing right away was doing Common Ground, which is a networking party, which we've been doing like I think almost 13 years now. And then also, Buffy wrangled me into being a mentor, and now I chair the mentors at the Nonprofit Commons, which is a group of folks that are kind of like the welcome wagon, the folks that will help people learn the skills they need in this virtual environment. And then also, we produce a lot of the networking events that we do with our community partners. The Nonprofit Commons has ended up being a fantastic place also to be able to teach and find others who can teach. And so, in many respects, what I find my connections and what I do here in the community is to, almost be like a resource manager, to find out who knows how to do what and to point them in the right direction. And then bring them to the forefront and give them opportunities to showcase their work. When we do conferences, it gives us a chance to build exhibits, which I help man a lot of those things. And then also, across the grid, being able to make a presence and marketing out what we do as a nonprofit commons. And since the nonprofit commons is made up of so many different communities, that we have a lot to share. And it's really important to be able to give everyone equal time and equal opportunities. So, Val, thank you so much for giving us a chance to come in and share a little bit about what we do.
Wonderful. Thank you, Zinnia. And you mentioned Buffy. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic over to another Nonprofit Commons board member to tell a little bit about what she does. Buffy?
Oh, thank you. And hello, everybody. It's so great to see this community that has just been a wonderful connection and networking opportunity for everybody. And I met someone when I first joined Second Life. I thought it was kind of fun. And then I met someone with TechSoup in their group name. And at that time, I was on a board for a nonprofit. And I raced over and wrote a thank you note, and then Susan, who was the founder of the Nonprofit Commons, invited me to come and join, and I'll never forget that excitement of just being so excited to be part of this community. And so I'm no longer with that nonprofit anymore. But I decided it's just too much of a good thing here being connected to all these wonderful people that I've stayed and taken on the role of helping people get settled when they join a nonprofit commons and helping build things and being part of the board. And I have to say that I was here a long time ago, but Corin was here way before me, and I thank him because he actually was the one that helped me get started to join the nonprofit commons and become more involved. And yeah, so here we are, and it's just a wonderful community, 13 years and counting, and yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Okay, back to you, Val.
Thanks, Buffy. And our next board member that a lot of you have known for many years as a strong leader of tech and building and creating all kinds of virtual environments is Lear Lobo. And Lear, I'd like to see if you'd like to say a few words about your involvement in the nonprofit commons.
Thank you, Val. Hello, everyone. I'm Lair Lobo, Education Chair of the Nonprofit Commons Board. I'm a professor at Colorado Technical University, at CCC Online, at Parker University, and at St. Martin's University. I teach and conduct research in virtual worlds, and I've taught 53 university classes within Second Life and on my Lobo Grid and Open Simulator. I help to schedule the Friday events and support our speakers and their events. Now, for me, the Nonprofit Commons is a celebration of social good from around the world. It is an opportunity to share and to support our global community. And at the heart of everything we do, my family taught me to live a life of purpose. and to support others and to strengthen our world. To do so makes my life rich and vibrant, and it is a delight to support the Nonprofit Commons and our wonderful family of friends. Thank you, Val. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Lear. So you can see we've got a lot of different perspectives that all come together at the Nonprofit Commons. And we have three new board members that are coming on board. And they might not even realize exactly what they're getting into yet because they've just come on. But if I'm going to give them an opportunity to just say who they are and why they have joined the board. And then we'll see, where that leads. And then we'll talk a bit about the various committees that are available for all of you here at the Nonprofit Commons. So first I'm going to introduce Ellie sitting here next to me. I've been working with Ellie on several projects, so I'm really happy that she's come on to the Nonprofit Commons board. Ellie, you want to say a few words about why you're here?
Absolutely, Val. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. It's really exciting to be a part of this podcast. I'm Ellie Pinion here in Second Life, and I'm one of those very new board members, as Val said. I've been in education for 25 years, starting in K-12 and then moving to higher ed, where I was the director for online course development for 13 years at the University of New Mexico. I was fortunate to start just as online education was beginning to grow. And here we are today with everyone online. Amazingly, our first online course at UNM was in 1997. I wasn't there then, but it's been around for a long time. And virtual worlds fit very nicely into that. I've actually been teaching in virtual worlds since 2009 and love the creative environments that virtual worlds provide for education. I've been an NPC mentor for a couple of years and have really enjoyed being part of the NPC community. It has been so rewarding to help with Nonprofit Commons, and I felt I met such amazing colleagues. The programs were the draw for me at first because they are always so interesting and extremely helpful. But I encourage you to join a committee that fits with your interests because as I was joining the mentors, it was a great way for me to give back a little bit, and it is so much fun. So one of the things I have been active with is bringing our communities together and getting the word out on what wonderful things are happening here with education. We do have a spreadsheet that CVL has put together, and Val and I have been working on that, and we would love, I'll put the link in chat. We would love for you to advertise your office hours there too, so just let Val or I know what they are, and we would love to have it. And also you can see everyone else's. We have recently started a Virtual Worlds Education Consortium to share information between groups. And our second meeting is April the 7th. So please let us know if you'd like information about that. CVL is and NPC are very important parts of that. So it's a real pleasure to be joining the board, and I appreciate all that everyone does. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. That's terrific. We'll talk a little bit more about the committees after I introduce the other new board members. We have Red, who is Talk with Marie. Red has voice problems today, so I'm going to read for her when she says a little bit about herself. Red is from the greater Boston area, sacred self-care goddess and coach, founder of the GIRLS project, and she's the host and producer of Talk with Marie podcast. I'll have to talk with you later, Marie. You probably know a whole lot more about the skills I'm using today than I do. I'm quite a beginner. She also works with poetry and live music. She hosts in Second Life, and she joins the board to serve and share resources with our community. So there are a lot of different perspectives on virtual worlds and what we can do here. And you can see a lot of those different perspectives come together here at the Nonprofit Commons. And so we're going to be happy to learn more from you on the board read Talk with Marie. And then we also have another new board member over here, Coffrin Mayo. And Coffrin, I'll turn the mic over to you to tell a little bit about why you've joined the Nonprofit Commons Board. Coffrin?
Well, thanks a lot, Val. I'm filling the person with a deeper voice slot on the board. So that's why I'm here, and I'll try to do my best. I am Corin Mayo, and the human behind my avatar spent 30 years working for nonprofits in the behavioral health field, mainly in the treatment of substance use disorders and running some domestic violence shelters. And about 10 years ago, I started Innovation LLC, a consulting group that continues to provide advice and strategy and guidance to nonprofit organizations from our Midwest headquarters. Innovation now has an office on a loft, and I have office hours there on Wednesdays from 11:15 to 12:30, by the way, and that was for you, Ellie. I've actually been involved in Second Life for just about a week shy of 14 years. My res day is next Thursday. And I've been connected with Nonprofit Commons for about 2 weeks shy of 14 years. I remember when I first started in Second Life, I wasn't exactly sure what you were supposed to do here, but I had heard or read about the search function, so I began looking for elements of it that would match up with my real life interests. And so I searched on for addiction treatment and nonprofits and chocolate chip cookies and things that were important to me, and discovered Nonprofit Commons. At the time, the meetings were on one of the education islands, and they were pretty ad hoc and just Glitteractica standing on a stage and the rest of us hanging out in a field somewhere in front of her. But I got involved early and have been involved off and on since for that entire time. When Plush first opened up, I was in charge of the security detail, which the Anchi Chung was one of the speakers at the gala opening event, and her group required that we have a security team in case some griefers showed up, and so I got to be in charge of that. But after that, I spent a lot of time working with NPC as on and off the board with new members, helping them plan and set up their office space, as Buffy mentioned. I helped to put together the plan and write the proposal that resulted in NPC winning the competition that awarded us the Aloft Sim initially, which is always an interesting story, but one that's too long to tell right now. I'll be happy to tell it to you later. And I've been a board member and I've been a mentor for NPC in the past. So I'm happy to be back on the board again and looking forward to being more involved in the ongoing success of Nonprofit Commons and Second Life.
Thank you, Coffrin. It's just great to hear a little bit about...
And thanks for mentioning Wharf Rats. I left that part out.
It's just good to kind of realize who our board is, and so thank you for sharing these moments and memories. And I didn't even realize you'd been around NPC that long. And I also want to mention the board members who are stepping down that have been involved in the Nonprofit Commons for quite a while. I'm one of those that are currently stepping down, but not going away, because the Community Virtual Library's goals and mission align so well with the Nonprofit Commons. I'm planning on staying on the Interaction Committee, and Ellie here, I've already partnered with her quite a bit. So I'm not going away. We're going to talk about those committees in a minute. And the other board members who are stepping down are not going away either. I've partnered with Selby on numerous projects, not just in Second Life, but in other virtual worlds. I consider him a champion and one of the best role model teachers I've really about ever had. So Selby is stepping down, but will still be very active, collaborating and networking on the Interaction Committee. And I might mention that these committees overlap. My whole life has been education, yet I'm on the Interaction Committee. So it's like we all kind of overlap. So don't feel like you've got to pick a committee and that's all you can do. You can do everything that you enjoy doing in virtual worlds. And another person who's going to be helping out a lot is Wisdom Seeker. Lynn Barrett, as you know, has been so active in bringing a lot of communities and interesting people and artists and just all kinds of health individuals together, whole brain health and all of that into virtual worlds. And Wisdom Seeker is stepping down from the board, but will also be working closely with the committees and the Interaction Committee in particular. And Namara is stepping down, but is also very active with NPC and has done a great job organizing our networking parties. Par is not, I don't think he's here today. He's helped out a lot with building and creating experiences here in the Nonprofit Commons community. So I wanted to ask if any of the former board members wanted to say anything particular to the new board, or a few words about your experience on the Nonprofit Commons board. You can either type in text, because I didn't really ask you up front, or you can feel free to take the mic. Wisdom Seeker, you want to say a few words in voice?
I took off my headset. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. It's been such a pleasure and so rewarding to have been on the board from the time that we became a board after TechSoup left. So I've seen this organization grow through the many hours we all spent thinking about it, talking to people, reaching out. And for me, the reaching out is something I want to continue to do, because I think that those of us who have offices or kiosks or whatever would benefit from getting to know each other better and seeing how we can interact in a variety of ways we haven't even thought about yet. And those of you who are just coming to the meetings, please join us. So we should set up office hours and be able to continue the conversation.
Wonderful. Thanks for emphasizing office hours. And as Ellie said, we have an office hours spreadsheet, and it's not just in Second Life. Some of you here, Sidearm over there is in numerous virtual worlds, like Verbella holds office hours in Verbella. If you're wanting to explore other worlds, Selby holds office hours in 3D web worlds and other various places. Ellie here holds them in Kitely as well as Second Life. So Second Life is our home base, but as Rhiannon said, Avacon has explored a lot of other places. Lear has an avatar in probably 100 virtual worlds. I mean, it's like we're all in a lot of virtual worlds. So our office hours don't have to be in one place. That's one thing Selby taught me. Distance is completely irrelevant now. We can go to any of these virtual worlds. So please connect with us if you'd like to talk about where you hold office hours. And you don't have to leave Second Life. If this is the only virtual world that you'd like to be in, that's totally fine too. I'd also like to just mention Namara here, who's going off the board, but has been a really strong help to everybody on the Nonprofit Commons board. You want to say a few words about your work at the Nonprofit Commons, Nam? And if your voice is not set up right now, you're welcome to type a bit in the text chat too, whichever's easiest for you. She is typing in the text chat. I'll read that for you, but feel free to pipe in if you'd like. Nam says, I just wanted to let folks know that they're participating in shaping the future of the Nonprofit Commons is deeply appreciated. As a former member of the team, I can say it was a rewarding experience, and I look forward to continuing to support and contribute as best I can. And I'll just say for Selby, that he's also doesn't have his mic on right now. Selby has been talking a lot on his blog. If you don't follow the Virtual Outworlding blog, I highly recommend that you do. He's been talking really over the last year a lot about building professional learning communities, and this is a great place to do that. right here at the Nonprofit Commons, because you can partner and find your niche in virtual worlds and find people who can help you with those skills that are not your strengths. For example, I'm still learning about my settings in the different tech tools for things like podcasting today and filming machinima. Even though I've been filming for 12 years, I still don't have my presets down, where I can really have the best high quality. There's a lot of tech issues that we have to help each other with. And I'm not a great builder or scripter, but there are builders and scripters among us right here who love to do that kind of work. And so not only can we mentor new people, but we can support each other as we learn and continue to grow, in all the tech skills that we each have. Let's see, and I hear somebody else's mic coming on. I do also want to turn the conversation toward our committees, so you can think how you can best become involved. And I'm going to let Zinnia take a little bit of the lead on talking about the committees. We have education, experience, and networking. And we'll talk a little bit about how the new board is still kind of learning who's going to be doing what role. And I did mention they overlap. But these committees and how you can get involved in them, you want to speak a little bit to that, Zinnia?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Val. And the committees, it's important to talk about the committees and the fact that we have the board members who help chair the committees, but we also have community members who volunteer on these committees. They're very open. And when, we shifted into a board, I worked on developing the different committees so that people would have a little bit of guidance and direction. And a team is so important to have a team, and we try to have co-chairs for each one of our boards and committees so that you're not alone. You're not alone. And I know so many of us have been volunteers for many years in different nonprofits, and it's hard when you're a team of one. And so we wanted to be sure that since we have so many talented team folks, back you up, right? So we have we do actually have 4 committees. So we have the executive committee, which is the community leadership and governance. So that would be the board. Education committee, which is teaching valuable skills and concepts, which are included in meetings, our mentoring, special workshops. We have the experience team, which is the virtual engagement, which includes the membership offices and galleries. Experience team is the they do the active interaction and activities, informational offices and galleries and social media, digital storytelling, community building, special events, online and off. And then our interaction team is the networking and activities and community building. So the interaction team will include experiences of virtual and actual engagement and partnerships. This would include scene events, educational conferences, and advocacy campaigns. And as Val mentioned, you can see there's a lot of overlap. Like I'm in every committee. And so lots of opportunities for people to participate in that. Yes, so Marley just asked for each. So as we are, you can some new folks connect with them. So who would like to start sharing a bit about the committee?
I can, Zinnia. Hey, this is Lear, and I'm Education Chair of the Education Committee, and we share responsibilities across committee members. So Val and Zinnia and others all participate, Rhiannon. And of course, we're always looking for more committee members to join us, so everyone's welcome. By the way, if you're interested, what we do is we plan the Friday events, and we also think about education and how we can share technology. We go on tours, and we have brand time. Friday mornings at 8:30 a.m. Second Life time. Over to you, Val.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. And let's see, I think, Buffy, would you like to say a little bit about the Experience Committee?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So we're kind of the catch-all when somebody new joins Second Life and the Nonprofit Commons. We help them figure out where they want to be, where their office is, if they want an office or a kiosk, and help them get settled. That's probably the major part. And the other part is assisting with building the exhibits, or not even building, but putting together, I guess, any exhibits that we do. And what else do we do? We we apply for the exhibits. For instance, we're going to be soon applying for the VWBPE exhibit, and we'll put that together and seek ideas and put it together to make an exhibit. And I think that's about it. But it keeps us busy, that's for sure. Oh, the other thing we do is take care of the sim. So for the new people, you may not know it, but we actually redid the whole loft sim starting from scratch with lots of help from Par and from Xenia and from others. So that was a big job for us to move all the old offices out and get the new ones in, and it looks quite settled. And our next ambition is going to take on the plush sim, which I'm very happy that C has agreed to be my co-chair. So we will get together and put a plan together for that, and refresh that sim because it's quite old with old prims, been around for a long time. So that's another job. So it's yeah, we're always looking for help, and yeah, I think that's about it. So back to you.
Thank you so much, Buffy. And I think I was saying your name wrong, Corin, not Coffrin. I wasn't sure about that. It's now that sometimes when you're not in voice, you don't even realize that. So great, you're going to be working together. And I think Nam said in the text chat that I've been working on the interaction committee, although Selby and I led that committee for a few years. We're stepping down, and the new board is welcome to kind of juggle things around and decide where they're going. I'm sort of hoping Ellie may take this role because she's already been working on that quite a bit. As she mentioned, the Virtual World Education Consortium, that's a group that's going to meet quarterly. That totally works with interaction. And also the office hours that she mentioned. You can put your office hours in any virtual world, and you can get with Ellie or with me later if you'd like to add to it. And I'm also going to put in the text chat when Zinnia was talking about, we're on all the committees. We like to go to all the different group events and really interact with different groups and network. Sometimes that's difficult because there are conflicts. One group has something scheduled the same time as another, and that's been a conflict for years. So to try to tackle that, we put together a virtual group calendar list so that all the calendars could be in one place. So if you do want to find, because sometimes it's like, now where do I go to find the calendar for Fantasy Fair, even though that's only once a year? You can't find the calendars. So if you have a group calendar that you think should be on that list, that's another thing that you could bring to our attention. You can either hand that to me or to Ellie, just to help with the conflicts that we have when we're trying to interact with other virtual world communities. So that's a bit about our different committees and community partnerships that we have going on. And one great way that you can get involved is by attending those networking parties. And I'll tell you how I do it, and you maybe do it the same way, or maybe you do it a different way. Quite often, these parties are themed, so it's fun to come up with some kind of a themed, color-coordinated avatar, outfit. And people love dancing, of course, in virtual worlds. But what I like to do is IM people and network one-on-one and get to know who's who, because you might not realize what you have in common with somebody at that party. And isn't that a wonderful thing in a virtual world? I wish I could right-click on someone in the physical world, read their profile, and have a conversation without interrupting the group. Otherwise you're whispering and everybody notices. It is a great advantage of virtual worlds to be able to network, right-click, take notes, So it is so productive, and which brings me to say it's not productive when I put on the goggles of a VR headset. I can't do any of that. I'm just looking around at a disposable experience, which has its place. But virtual worlds are powerful tools when we think of different ways that we can connect and collaborate. So in the text chat, if you have any questions for the board, or you also have any aha moments of, oh, I didn't know that nonprofit commons did that, and now you can get involved, we want to open this up as a conversation. So thank you, board, for being willing to do this podcast. And now we'll open up for questions and conversation.